Good morning. We're here on our last day here at Tuktoyaktuk in Northwest Territory, Canada, camping here on the side of the Arctic Ocean. And a few viewers have asked if how long does it really take to close up the Patriot camper? How long does it take to open it? I thought this would be a fine opportunity to show you how long it takes us to close it up. I'm not going to do talking while we do this. I'll add some voiceover later. For the details, it's probably best just to go back and look at the video we posted in the fall of 22 at Exploration Outfitters when Ray actually went through the detail of closing the trailer. So I'll post that link right up here in the corner to that video if you want to see it. But instead, we're just going to show you what it's like being out here in the field and what's involved in closing up the trailer. We'll start with the awning and then we'll move on to the trailer. While I'm closing the awning, Debbie's usually inside making the bed. That isn't really what I would consider part of closing up the Patriot camper. So, here it goes. I'd like you to note that as we go about this process of closing up the trailer, this is not a hurried, let me show you how fast this trailer can be closed up. As you can tell by looking at me, I am just moving along like I would on any morning, closing up the trailer with Debbie helping me out. What I'm doing right now is I'm grabbing my impact driver and removing one of the Patriot screw-in stakes that I use to hold the guy line for the end of the awning. That just keeps everything set up. I would like to mention that we do use two accessories that we purchase from Patriot that we find invaluable. One is the full set of screw-in pegs for going into the ground. Those things work great, and they're way better than having to hammer in stakes and pull them out. I really like the screw-in stakes. And number two, you can see spread around the trailer on the ground, we use their mats, and those things are absolutely amazing. Doesn't matter if you're camping in sand or you're camping on dirt or whatever. When it's raining, it keeps the mud down underneath the mat, keeps your feet a lot cleaner. You're much less likely to track dirt inside the trailer. Even if you're using door mats before you go in, those mats are amazing. If you drop food on the ground, the 10-second rule applies, no problem. What I'm doing right now to close up the awning is I hold each arm of the awning and then swing a leg up, and it magnetically attaches inside the arm of the awning. And I continue holding that arm. I move on to the next one, and I take the weight off of that one, and I swing the leg up underneath, move on to the third one, and then I move it around. When I have those three, that's half of the awning, and then I go ahead and swing that in, and there's a little strap inside that goes around those three pieces of the awning on the end and supports their weight up inside. And now I'll move on to the other side of the awning and bring those arms in as well. You'll notice the black bar that I just dropped on the ground. That actually should be attached to the awning, and a couple of weeks before I filmed that, I somehow snapped that off the awning when I was opening it up. Not quite sure how that happened, but at least I can still put it up into the awning where it belongs, and it works fine. So when we get back from the trip, I'll look into replacing that part. But at least it didn't prevent us from putting the awning up. this point, when you're putting the second set of arms away, I find it's advantageous to be just a little bit taller, so I use one of these cheap folding stools I got off Amazon and stand on that. I'm about 5'11". I think if you were 6'2" or more, it would be easy to do, but for me, it's just a lot easier to stand on a stool. See Debbie picking up that extra piece from the awning and taking it into the trailer. There's a number of poles that come with the trailer, about 4, and they all store right on the inside of the bed, so that when you put the mesh cover over the bed in the trailer, it also holds those poles in place, and it's a great storage location for them. Okay, the awning is stowed away. It took a little under 7 minutes to do that, and now I'm moving on to preparing the tent for closing up. What I'm doing here is I'm unhooking some tabs that hold a little rain flap out that allow the rain to drain off the top of the tent and onto the awning rather than falling straight down onto the shelf above the galley. Now I'm going around to the passenger side of the trailer and removing 2 springs that hold up an awning that goes over the window on that side of the trailer. Keeps the rain from coming in if you need to open the window. Also helps block some of the sun on a warm day. While Debbie's rolling up the screen door and the canvas door, I'm going around and just loosening the elastic bands that go all the way around the side of the tent and hold the lower section in place around the bed frame. At this point, Debbie's starting to load some cargo that we always keep in the trailer when we're underway. I'm finishing up on preparing the outside of the tent for closing up, and then I'll give her a hand with a couple of things once I'm done unsnapping the tent from the trailer here. As you can see, I had a little trouble with that one snap on the trailer. There was a lot of dirt and dust driving 500 miles up the Dempster Highway, and I just think some stuff got in there and plugged it up a little bit, made it a little tough to unsnap. Don't usually have that problem. We actually don't store our dry food in any portion of the trailer itself. Instead, we use a Zargas box and load that in onto the floor of the trailer for when we're underway. In addition to the standard storage areas on the X3, the inside of the trailer can still be used for storing a tremendous amount of camping equipment. We have our Zargas box in there that has all of our dry food, camping chairs, Mr. Heater Buddy, a shovel, and a couple other things. It's just amazing how much equipment this trailer will hold for you while you're underway. Okay, after about 3 minutes of storing equipment in the trailer, Debbie's now starting to bring down the ribs inside of the tent. And once she gets that done, then we'll go ahead and close up the trailer. Even though we were up on the Arctic Ocean, we were fortunate enough to camp next to a little red hut that had 110 volts available. So we just pulled out an extension cord and plugged the trailer in, and we were able to run on shore power for the 5 days we were camping in Tuktoyaktuk. I know you can't see me right now, but what I'm doing on the other side of the trailer is I'm just stowing away the propane tank into the holder. So it just drops into an area where I tighten it up with a strap, and then there's a hinge door sort of like a rock art that goes around in front of it. And with that being done, we are just about ready to start closing up the trailer. Closing the trailer is pretty simple. I just pick it up, I swing the ladder underneath and latch that into place, and then I bring the trailer up to vertical. And then one of the tricks to closing the trailer I find is don't let it come down too fast so that you have time to go around and tuck the canvas in really well so it doesn't poof out. And that will come back and repay in spades when you try and finally close the trailer at the end. It makes it much easier to get the trailer latched. The trailer will be a little difficult to latch when it's brand new because the canvas is a little stiff, but that goes away very quickly. Once the cover of the trailer is over and resting under its own weight, I just go around and make sure everything is tucked in before I start latching the top of the trailer down. You really want to make sure that all the material from the tent is out of the way of the rubber gasket going around the trailer. And now I'll pull the trailer down and I'll latch it in place. I'll double check to make sure that everything is tucked in and away from that rubber gasket, because you don't want that open at all, otherwise dust will come in if you're on a dusty road or water from the rain. You really want that rubber gasket good and clear before you finally do the final latch on the trailer. Now the last thing I do is I stow the awning onto its brackets and latch it in place. So now I'm going to raise the rear stabilizer on the trailer. It kind of holds the stiffens the trailer so it doesn't rock around when you're walking around inside. I'm going to raise that up and stow it. So overall, given 3 minutes of putting equipment inside the trailer, the actual time it took to close the trailer up was about 15 minutes. So it's like 15 minutes or a little bit less when you have the awning deployed. Without the awning deployed, you can take 7 minutes off of that, and it's less than 10 minutes to close up the trailer. Okay, that's about it except for hooking it up to the vehicle, and that's just like any other trailer. So it's pretty simple actually. And we've been on the road 2.5 months, and we've probably spent, I don't know, at least 80 nights in this. We did have a couple weeks in Anchorage where we were down with a broken CV joint. Probably did 25 nights before we left on this trip out in Arizona and Texas. But that's it. It's a very simple closure. It's really not a problem. Like anything, when you first get it, you're going to have a couple of days of learning curve, but once you get it down, it's pretty simple. All right, we'll see you again right here on Adventure Beyond 60.